more and more amazed at the energy that you bring to this beginner's call. And for those of you that may be one-on-oneers, I say it every week. I listen to this call every single minute of every single hour as if I've never heard it before. And so that is a testament, Ms. Anderson, to how wonderfully internally positive you are vibrating about this subject. And it literally oozes out of everything that you say. So I appreciate everything you bring to this call and to this movement. So this is a talk with the finance doctor, your RX for FOREX. So I would like to welcome everyone here, and I'd like to quickly state that one of the reasons why the visionary, Gerald D. Rogers, came up with this concept was because he wanted us to be able to have a dialogue, to have a conversation. And that is the reason why we labeled this call a talk with the finance doctor rather than a talk from the finance doctor, because these conversations are better when we are both participating, when you come to the table with a verbal question. Notice I said verbal. So every other call that we do is chart-based, but this, of course, is a conversation. So if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a testimony, please allow the diagonal line, the diagonal red line in the corner of your left-hand side of your rectangle to disappear and do what I refer to as walk in the power of the unmuted microphone. Why is that so important? Well, when you ask a question, when you make a comment, when you have a testimony, we feel what you're saying. We can connect with your energy. There's an inflection in your voice. And oftentimes when you do that, other individuals connect with what you're saying or what you're asking. There's a term for that, collective consciousness. So collective consciousness is the same thing that the Bible describes as where two or more shall gather. So anytime we come together and you unmute your mic and walk in that power, you can best believe that someone else that's either here right now or listening to the recording in the future will have the same exact question. And we operate in the premise that this conversation is important for a lot of reasons, but one reason is this: personal finance. Oh, sorry, I snuck up on me. Oh, goodness gracious. Sorry, y'all. Personal finance is the only area of our society. Golly. Personal finance is the only area of our society where the individuals who provide the information about the products just happen to be the same individuals that sell you the products. So having a conversation about how you can economically empower yourself by managing your money better, by understanding, thank you, Miss Regina L. Williams, by understanding how these processes work, from trading all the way down to trust funds, it puts us in a better position. So with that in mind, any questions, comments, or testimonies for a talk with the sneezing doctor? Questions, comments, testimonies? Okay, so what I would like to do is I'd like to talk a little bit about a slide that I saw on Miss Anderson's call tonight that just hit different. Now, let's talk a little bit about hit different, because I can remember a mistake that I used to make as a young learner. I was always under the impression that you should only read something once. And the way I looked at it is, once you read something once, then you go on to something else. So there's no need of reading it more than once. So what got me to thinking differently about that was, Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor is, of course, the mindset guru that is a part of I Am Academy. And why? Because he's been doing this for 60 years. And so he literally is considered to be one of the foremost minds in how we can walk in the law of vibration and really just accomplish all of our desires. He likes to tell the story of the fact that he really was a loser. He didn't have, his words, he didn't have anything going on. He was making $4,000 a year, owed $6,000. And the only thing he did was operating in these mindset principles, and his life changed. So I say all that to say this. When I first started really getting into Bob, he would say that he reads Think and Grow Rich every single day for 60 years. So that didn't match with the way I do things. Even a movie, I will only see a movie once because there's another movie. So I want to make sure I see more movies. So my rationale, which I'm admitting was flawed, was that I only want to expose myself to something once. Well, here's the breakdown. I really want you to think about this. The way the human brain works is this. When you're watching something, when you're listening to something, when you're reading something, it is natural for the brain to begin to have thoughts. So let's suppose that whatever you're reading, whatever you're watching, whatever you're listening to, let's assume that's a straight line. So as you're reading this straight line, as you're watching or listening to this straight line, there are going to be certain points where your mind is going to think about something and it's going to go off on a tangent. So you're still reading, you're still watching, but you're distracted because of the thought. So what happens is when you read it again, when you listen again, when you watch it again, your mind is going to still do that, but it's going to do that at different points. So if you have 3 straight lines that represents the same book, the same movie, the same audio, the same speech, then the mind will go into tangents at different points in all 3. So there are 3 different sets of contact that you're going to focus on. That is why all of us have seen a movie for the second time, and then you say, oh, I don't remember that from the first time. They must have added that. They didn't add it, you just didn't catch it the first time. So I said all that to say this. When we put ourselves in a position where we watch something over and over and over, it just hits different. So for whatever reason, when I was watching Miss Anderson's presentation tonight, the slide, positive mind, positive vibes, positive life, just hit different. I've seen it multiple times. I like the slide. I smile at the slide. But today, when I saw it, it just hit different. It literally, I saw it in a way I've never seen it before. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about positive mind, positive vibes, positive life. Now, I had a conversation with my youngest daughter today because she's not watching the Talk with the Finance Doctor, so I can talk about her. She's not in the house right now. My daughter got fired from a job today. And the reason why she got fired from a job today is, of course, because she shouldn't be working, she should be trading. Ooh. But the reason why she got fired from the job is because this young child, I've spoken about her a lot. Everybody has that one. Everybody has that one that will try you, that will push all the buttons, that will put you in a position where you have to use every type of positive vibe, positive mind, and positive life that you have. But that's that child. So what happened was, I was out of town. I was in Houston. And so she had to go to work on Sunday. So I arranged for her to be able to have ample transportation to get to the job that she shouldn't be working with because she should be trading. And she called her manager and said, manager, I'm having my monthly, and so I'm going to come in an hour late. Okay. All right, 16-year-old. Then she told the manager, and by the way, my shift has me working until 11, and I've got school on Monday morning, so I'm only going to work till 8. Ha! Come on, y'all. I'm doing my best trying to teach this child the way the world works. And of course, you know that there's nothing about that conversation that I have not addressed prior to today, that I haven't been addressing for 16 years, but that's what happened. These are the facts of the story. So today, she got fired. So one of the things that I was explaining to her, because on Sunday when she was at the job having this conversation with her manager, let me tell you what my child said. Child, please, unconditional love. Let me tell you what my child said. Let me tell you what my child said. One more round. Let me tell you what my child said. My child said to her male manager, you're not a female, so you'll never understand what it feels like. Come on, boo. You don't say that to the manager. Here's something I've been saying to my children. And for those of you that are new, I have 3 daughters, 20, 17, and 16. In fact, my 17-year-old will be 18 on the 13th of November. So I'm about to only have 1 child in a minute. So Long story short, I've been teaching them this since they were 2 years old. Who a person is always more important than what they say or do. Who a person is always more important than what they say or do. Okay, somebody needed that. Who a person is always more important than what they say or do. Sometimes in our quest to make sure we have a positive mind, in our quest to make sure that we vibrate positive, in our quest to make sure that our lives are positive, we forget the premise of that vitalism. Let me say it again. Who a person is always more important than what they say or do. Because we're so quick to put all the energy on what they said. Yeah, but you don't know what they said. We're so quick to put all the energy on what they did. Oh, yeah, but you don't know what they did. But we have to understand that if the person is an authority figure, coach, spouse, business partner, daughter, grandma, them, nana, who a person is has to always be more important than what they say or do, because when we do that, then we put ourselves in a better position. Referees. I've spoken openly on this call about how as a coach, as a girls basketball coach, I do it differently. I do not allow my players to ever yell, get an attitude, roll their eyes, or even say anything to a referee. They're only allowed to smile and say hello to the referee. And I always use this analogy. No referee has ever come up to you, girl player, and said, you should have made that layup. So if a referee doesn't come at you like that, you don't come at the referee like that. So that is an example of who a person is more important than what they say or do. So, you know, she's 16. Come on, she's not the only 16-year-old in the world. So you know that 16 has a narrative for everything. You know, 16 has a story to tell. Yeah, dad, but, and then they proceed to tell the story. But what I kept reminding her is, it's not about the story. It's not about the narrative. It's not about what happened. It's about your ability to recognize whatever happens, you have a positive mind. Whatever happens, rather than reacting, you're walking in a positive vibe. And when you do that, when you look at it from a positive mind, when you look at it from a positive vibe, then you have a positive life. So let me tell you what the child told me before she went and got fired. She said, well, I don't care, I'm straight. Yes, just like that. I had moved, just like them do it again. I don't care, Dad, I'm straight. I'll just go to McDonald's. I said, hold on. Okay, this one is for somebody. Somebody's listening to me right now, and they're applying this to somebody in their family. But what I'm about to say isn't about that person in the family. It's about you. What I explained to my daughter was this. This is her third job. She's 16. This is her third job. So I said, boo, hun, darling, strawberry, watermelon. I said, when you leave this job and you go to McDonald's, you're taking yourself with you. You're still going to be there. So the only common denominator in all of these situations is you. Why do I know for a fact that there's somebody on this call who is yet to make the connection I'm going to make in about 12 minutes, which is this conversation is extremely relevant to your trading account. Because the mind that you have, if it's positive, then your trading account will reflect that. If the vibe that you have is positive, then your trading account will reflect that. If your life is positive, then the feelings that you have when you're sitting there trading will be reflected in your trading account. So what I'm saying to you is this. There are some people listening to me right now via Zoom and or recording that have focused on what the other individual is doing and saying. Vitalism. People do not do and say things to you. They simply do and say things. Let me say it again. People do not do and say things to you. They simply do and say things. But we take it personal. Dr. B, you just don't know what they said. Oh, Dr. B, you don't understand what they did. I do. But I also know this truth. If you disappear tomorrow, if you move to Alaska, if you move to Europe, If you move to your own private island that you bought with your trading money, that person is still going to do the same things. That person is still going to say the same things because that's who they are. There's a business partner. Let me say that a different way. There's someone on this call right now that I really care about. And I sent that person a meme that said this. People, most times, when they're communicating with you, they're just projecting their pain. And we just decide to take it personal. They're just projecting their pain. And we decide to take it personal. So the point that I was making to the young lady who's gotten fired from the 19th job at 4 years old, okay, I exaggerated. But at this point, this was my point. If you're having a conflict with someone, guess what? You were there. Yeah, Dad, but I had another conflict with someone. Oh, you did? Tell me about it. Okay, you were there. Yeah, Dad, but let me tell you what such and such did. Oh, for real? Tell me about it. Okay, but you were there. So it is so important that we recognize that positive mind, positive vibes. We have to be a vibrational match to whatever we're experiencing. It is law. We have to be a vibrational match to whatever we're experiencing. How about we just do it for real, for real? I'm the father. I'm the parent. I come to this call constantly telling you the issues that I have with this child, the drama I have with this child. But guess what? I'm there. I am a vibrational match to what this child is going through. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So, okay. Oh, y'all don't want to keep it real? Okay, let me keep it real. Because the best talk with the finance doctors are when the finance doctor isn't a finance doctor, so he can tell you about it on a talk with the finance doctor. So my daughter had an issue this week, and we were in a car, and she asked me to bring her something to eat. So I did. I went in, and it was the last minute. I was on my way to practice, basketball practice. I went in the refrigerator. I got what I saw that she would like. I put it together and brought it to her. This heifer, did he call her a heifer on YouTube? YouTube is going to ban us. This heifer said, why would you bring that? I was going to eat that for dinner. Oh, no, she did. No, she didn't. No, she did. So I made that heifer, did I call her heifer again? I made her do push-ups in front of the whole team, because you ain't finna talk to the finance doctor like that. You're not finna talk to Coach Craig like that. You're not finna talk to your daddy like that. So I made her do push-ups until she started crying. But watch this. So after practice, she wanted to talk about it. She brought it up. So as we were having the argument and she stormed out of my truck, I took the Tupperware container that had the food in it and I threw it at her. And the sauce got all over her outfit. Hello, hello, I'm the finance doctor. I'm talking about having a positive mind. I'm talking about having a positive vibe. I'm talking about having a positive life. But in that moment, I let her get to me. Y'all saw what I just did? Did y'all hear what I just said? I said, I let her get to me. People do not do and say things to you. They do and say things. Did you see me projected on her? Did you hear me say, she made me? Come on, y'all. Come on, can we preach tonight? Can we be real tonight? Can we keep it real? Because all I really care about is that our trading accounts reflect our positive mind. And our trading accounts reflect our positive vibe. And our trading accounts reflect our positive life. So oftentimes we have to be real. We have to be real. We have to be FR. Come on, y'all. Y'all have teenagers. You know that's what they text. FR means for real, for real. So we have to be FR, because when we're FR, that is the opportunity for us to grow and to expand. I am a better finance doctor. I'm having a better talk with the finance doctor because I fell short. I'm the coach. I'm a life. Do y'all hear how my voice is? I'm a life coach. I promise y'all, I promise it's true. Y'all know that we went to Mr. and Mrs. Reed's wedding in Cleveland, right? And there's a young lady that I used to date that lives in Cleveland. So I called her when I was in Cleveland. And you know, the first thing out of her mouth was, she said, "Oh, how you doing, Peter Positive?" That's what she used to call me in college. She called me Peter Positive. So this ain't no act. This is who I am. Before I had the doctor, before I had the Zoom call, she called me Peter Positive. But I took the Tupperware with the active sauce in it and threw it on my baby. And then on this call, you heard me say, "She made me." Child, please. Who a person is always more important than what they say or do. Daughter, parent, grandparent, police officer, professor, spouse, friend, family member, business partner. Who a person is more important than what they say or do. So what if we committed ourselves to, on tomorrow, making sure that every interaction that we had, we thought about who the person was. And watch this. If you're having an issue following this suggestion, if you're having an issue doing what I'm suggesting, watch this. Every single person on the earth has Christ inside of them. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. So if you don't have one of those labels to put on them, just look at the Christ in them. Because at the moment that you do that, the moment I realized that this was a little girl that was hurting, this is a little girl that's been going through a lot. This is a little girl, I'm just gonna be honest, because let's keep it real. This is a girl that's been having some mental health issues. And I'm cool with that because I love my baby and she's gonna get it right. But in that moment, I didn't look at who she was. I didn't look at my baby girl. I looked at what she was doing. And I looked at what she was saying. Now, don't get it twisted now. You'll never be allowed to disrespect me. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you have a positive mind, then you can analyze and manage the disrespect better. If you have a positive vibe, you can analyze and manage the disrespect better. In fact, if we're keeping it real, if you really are vibrating high, the disrespect wouldn't be able to come because it doesn't match your vibration. Oh, I just said something. I just said something. Now, we're telling the truth. We're talking about how important having a positive mind, a positive vibe, and a positive life is. We're being real about it. But watch this. I have a good friend who has a daughter that's very similar to mine. And I always give her this advice. You have to raise your vibration. When you raise your vibration, then you'll be able to manage it better. And the first 6 months I said that to this person, they would say, how can I raise my vibration when she's doing this? How can I raise my vibration when she's saying this? Since she is finally listening to me, since she's finally following my advice, she's found that when her vibration is high, the child is the same child. The child is still talking noise. The child is still doing stuff, but she says she notices this sometimes. She'll wake up and she'll take the steps to be in a high vibration. And the child will walk in her room and just do a pivot and walk back out. I'm telling y'all, positive vibe. Vibrations have to be a match. So you have to be able to manage your perception of negativity. You have to be able to manage your perception of conflict. You have to be able to manage your definition of disrespect while being aligned, while being positive, while walking in a God space. Because the moment that you come out of the God space, that's when you're throwing the Tupperware on people. That's when you're throwing the Tupperware on people. Because if you're going to have a positive mind, you're going to recognize who they are. Life coaching technique. Here's a life coaching technique. It is very common for individuals that I coach to have very strong conflict issues with their parents. It's a very close relationship. The imperfections of the parent oftentimes seeps into the life and the scenarios and experiences of the child, especially when you're an adult. That's just real. That's how it works. Doesn't mean something's wrong with the parent. What it means, hear me, let me say this again. Doesn't mean something's wrong with the parent. What it means is what's wrong with the parent is magnified through the life of the child. I just said something. I just freed somebody. I'm gonna say it again. It doesn't mean something's wrong with the parent. It means that whatever is wrong with the parent is magnified in the life of the child. So I said all that to say this. One of the techniques that I use, and trust me, I still use it today, because I did not have a father in my life. He's alive. I don't know where he is. Don't have his number or anything. And oftentimes that daddy stuff comes and gets me, and I do exactly this technique I'm about to teach y'all. If you have an issue with the parent, know that they had a childhood and they went through some stuff as a child. People don't get mad at children that are suffering, especially if it's not your own child. It's just how it works. Nobody looks at a child suffering, but get up, shake it off. We just be, oh. So what you do is you picture the parent as a wounded child. And when you picture the parent as a wounded child, there's a certain level of empathy. There's a certain level of feeling. There's a certain level of awage. I want to say it again because that sounded kind of cool. There's a certain level of awage which you feel. And when you do that, it takes some of the emotional edge. Try it, try it. Some of you that have issues with your parents, try it. Literally see them as a wounded child. See the male parent as a wounded little boy. See the female parent as a wounded little girl. It works. So I said all that to say this. That's not what I did when I threw the Tupperware on the little girl. Now I already know, because I know how y'all BYOBers are. I know I'm gonna get an anonymous email tomorrow because somebody gonna report me. Somebody gonna say, you know, Dr. B hit the girl with a Tupperware and he put sauce all over her outfit. He did. You know what's funny? When I did it, she was so shocked. It kind of froze her, and she was like, "You act like a child sometimes." She didn't know what else to say. So I'm sorry, it was funny. So, what is the point? The point is, right now, there are people listening to me that have convinced themselves that there's something wrong with them. You're having a conflict with someone right now, and you think it's them. And I'm here to tell you it's not them. Now, if I was talking to them, I'd say the same thing about you. But what you have to recognize is the power of that slide is that we are the owners of our experience. Should I say it again? The power of that slide, Ms. Anderson, is that we are the owners of our experience. We're the ones that decide to have a positive mind. We're the ones that decide to vibrate in a positive way. And when we decide to have a positive mind, when we decide to have a positive vibe, that's when we have a positive life. And when we do that, it will be reflected in our trading accounts. This has been a talk with the finance doctor. Questions, comments, testimonies.
Dr. Bythewood, this is the pit master. Listen, you know, when I felt like I totally had the strategy perfected, I would go into the market with an expectation of exactly what I wanted the market, what I wanted to see in the market. Therefore, I didn't exercise in that high vibration. I would be attacking the market. My shoulders wouldn't be relaxed. I wouldn't be waiting for the perfect setup. I would be pushing the card. It wasn't until I decided to walk in that perfect patience and vibrate high, relax, and follow the recipe to the letter that I started to compound with 100% accuracy. I think I've had two trades hit my stop loss in 6 or 7 months. So I say that to say, and I knew exactly why when those 2 trades didn't go through, why it happened. So I say that to say, when you're vibrating high and you're not operating with a needy spirit, but you're operating at ease and relaxed intensity with that patience, then things will just start coming to you. And so it wasn't until I realized I don't have to if I don't see what I'm looking for, then I'm not going to execute the trade. So what that is doing is spilling over into my personal life as well.
Wow.
Because I have a special needs son and he's 28. So I have to really have these internal conversations with myself to be patient.
Love it.
At all times.
Love
so
it.
When we say how we do one thing is how we do everything, we can look at a person's trade account and kind of predict what's happening in their personal life as well, and vice versa.
Yes.
So once we get it all together and we operate in excellence and we operate with patience and we vibrate high, then we'll come full circle and attract that utopian lifestyle that we all desire.
Child, please.
Thank you for pulling that out.
Yes, yes, that's a word right there. And the beauty of that wonderful testimony to me is that you just got, there used to be a show a long time ago called VH1 Behind the Music. You just got VH1 behind the slide. That's where the slide really comes from. That's the story of the slide. So the next time you see that slide, it's just going to hit different because you understand that she had to live through that experience to get there. So hopefully she doesn't take all of my advice and doesn't throw a saucy Tupperware at her son. But we grew and we expanded by that. Miss Reed.
My question is, would I be right to say that you vibrated, and so did Mrs. Anderson just now, very high? As a result, your transparency causes you to vibrate high.
Yes.
Because you can have that experience and keep it to yourself and never use it as snatching, how do you say that, from your life?
Snatch from the headlines of my life.
Yeah, of your life. But that has not just helped Mrs. Anderson and caused her to share what she just did, but it's helped every one of us on this line to the degree that many of us won't say it. But I just can never say enough how grateful I am for these life lessons that at the age of 84, I am growing by leaps and bounds and learning so much that I didn't learn before. Thank you so much for transparency, both of you.
You are very welcome. Thank you so much for saying that. Any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for letting us know about that girl you dated. You used to date in Cleveland. I'm gonna find out who she is.
Sabrina Shelton. I called her out. Any other questions, comments, or testimonies? Well, I'd like to thank everybody because I felt some of y'all feeling it. And I literally could feel the energy behind those muted mics. I know that some people were touched by some things that were said, and that's a wonderful thing. So let's just be better tomorrow. Let's just throw one less Tupperware tomorrow. And I must admit, I walked in my kitchen yesterday and looked at the Tupperware and just fell out laughing. So yes, our transparency is a pivotal methodology for us to grow. So I'm going to end this call in prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for an opportunity for us to keep it FR. Allow us to continue to grow and expand. There's an African proverb that says nothing is learned through success. So we thank you, God, for opportunities for us to fall short so that we can continuation, and have higher highs and higher highs and higher highs. So Heavenly Father, we are thankful, we are appreciative, and we are grateful. Amen. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday night. We'll see you at 5 a.m. tomorrow. This has been a Talk with the Finance Doctor, and this will officially end this call. Take care.